people cannot get everything from the farmer direct to their house. There is a gap. There is always something in the middle. So that was the opportunity we saw. And it started very, very, very raw.
Organically.
If that is the word that I can use, it was like 150 products at the beginning. It was our salads, our herbs.
I'm your biggest promoter. I'm always like, to use Alion. You've got to use Alion.
Yeah.
I'm Farah Shammas. Welcome to Hotel Talk. We hope you enjoy listening to this friendly conversation between people connected by real life in hotels. Welcome. I'm so excited because today I have with us a gentleman that's all about fruits and vegetables. So if anybody knows me, that's my thing. So George Zavos is the founder and from the owning family of Alion and more. If you live in Cyprus and don't know Alion, then where are you living? You definitely have to check them out. Amazing products. You can see them all across all the big fruit and vegetable stores and supermarkets, but most importantly, they deliver. So if you're not using them to deliver to your house, guys, it's a game changer. So Yorgo, thank you so much for being here.
So good to be here, Farah.
I'm so happy.
I'm glad to finally meet you from close as well.
I know. And, so to give everyone a bit of a background, I order an awful lot of fruits and vegetables. I'm going to do some reels on my social media, so follow to see that. But we're like a small restaurant. And when I discovered Alion, it was just such a game changer. And I can't even remember how. I think maybe I ordered something and then you saw that I was ordering and you called me.
It started a few years ago, yeah. The first call was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
I remember you asked for my opinion. You were like, look, you seem to be ordering a lot. Like, can you, And I was ordering, I think, from another app. And then you went to your own.
Maybe, yeah. When we first started, it was not as it is 5 years in now. We started really early, in the early 2020s. So it was through another app that was available at the time that we could use. We started through Foodie, and then we developed our own application as well as the years went by. That was, I think, the conversation that
we had.
happened. And I think it was about scheduling an order from before, and that's what we discussed.
And just seeing how easy it was. And I think the first time, you hadn't even launched it, I think, and you called me and said, look, we're just testing it out.
We're working on that,
And then I tried it, and then I was like, oh, actually, there was this. But it was great.
And I asked your opinion about a few things about the categories and all that. I remember. And it was really early in the life of Alion and more. It was not the product base that it is today.
But it's amazing. So we've been talking basically, guys, for years, and we've never actually met. And so finally, here we are meeting for the first time at the hotel on Hotel Talk podcast. So George, let's do a rewind and go back to the beginning. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone, where did you grow up? Who are you? What did your family do? And then how did your life stumble into fruits and vegetables and production and online ordering? Like, let's go through the whole thing.
I will try to be, it's a long story. I come from a family of farmers, people that had to do with the land, 3 or 4 generations back. So I guess it was always...
And they were making what? Like, what were they
it had to do with livestock, producing, even...
Like potatoes?
Like potatoes as well, but what got us into, this kind of mentality, I would say, is that my grandfather had one of the biggest farms in Cyprus with livestock, different kinds of meat. And, even though he didn't have the education that was needed to build a farm with high-end technology, was one of the highest technology systems that they used in all over the Middle East. I remember my father telling me that people used to come from Greece to see his farm. So he had to be doing something right. I was not around, to be honest, so I didn't actually see it. I have some photos, but that's about it. I met him. He told me the stories. He's not with us anymore, but may he rest in peace. He put the stepping stone to what started and what is there today. But it was always in the family. Different things happen. Every decade, every generation has its own problems and things. But through that, I think my father and generally the family got the idea of how to work with the land, how to, create value from your own country, from your own area. and create wealth from the land, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially nowadays. Back in the day, it was a normal thing to do.
Yeah.
So now the things are changing, and they changed a lot. Hopefully, we are trying to be the leaders along with other people doing the same things in the agriculture and the primary sectors. But what I was trying to say is that through my grandfather and through his legacy, my father managed to get into the fresh fruit and vegetable business back in 1990. He came from his studies in the UK. He had some good contacts there with different people in different wholesale markets. And there was a big opportunity. Cyprus back in the day used to be a very, very good, a very big power in all the fresh vegetables that were exported all around Europe, especially in the UK market.
I always remember, I think it was around that time, it was in the 90s for sure. We'd exported so many potatoes that we didn't have enough one year for us here. Yeah, and we were actually importing potatoes from abroad.
A lot of things changed after that. They started back in 1990 from a very small warehouse in Dali that we discussed before. It's a very, very small warehouse behind my grandmother's house. That's how Alion started. That was the first place that was incorporated.
And why did they call it Alion?
That's a very good question. It comes from from Dali, which the ancient word for Dali is Idalion, and it comes from an ancient king that, the story says that he came across Dali, which is a little bit bigger hills, and in the middle it's the village, and he saw the sun, and he said Idou Alion in ancient Greek. So Idou Alion is the ancient word for the sun, which is a primary ingredient to our success, because without the proper sunlight, you cannot grow anything.
That's so interesting. I always thought it was for because Alion is also the group, the category of like onions and vegetables.
Okay.
Like so I thought it was to do with that, which is also then relevant to you guys as well. That's amazing.
It is relevant.
Yeah.
But it has a deeper meaning, and
that's why
that's how it started.
How did you guys start? I thought maybe you started with onions or So interesting.
It's actually and the Alion name took us a long way. Like, people knew Alion all over Europe before they knew really good what is going on in Cyprus, because we the first 15 years of the life of the company, let's say from the 1990s until 2005, 2006, we were mostly focused in the exports market.
Okay.
So the company, 90% of the whole revenue was coming from exports, even more than that. So
then how did you shift? I mean, I don't know what your percentages are, if it's still mainly exports or you do mostly local, but how did you then shift to doing deliveries? And also then how did you, because I think of you guys as more of a fruit and vegetables company. How did you shift from being originally
to a fresh food company in general now? It was a few things that happened along the way.
And are all the things your own, or do you also buy from other people?
We source a lot of products from all around Cyprus and all around the world.
Yes, and you have
I will get to that with the story, but how it started, as I said, to get it out there, is that we were working on the exports for 15 years. We did a very, very good brand name for us. We were even exporting all the way to the US and Canada, all over the Middle East, even in Singapore sometimes. The company went up to a point to export in all over, like almost 28 countries, 29 countries, which was huge for us. Everything was done by air. That has to be noted. Mostly, except from some products that can last in the ship, but most of them were by air. This was an island, which was a disadvantage for us and for the whole industry, not only for Alion. And you were asking me what changed and why was the transition there, is because the market changed. A lot of different bigger countries went into the market. They competed with Cyprus traditional products like coriander, like parsley, like different seasonal products, either in the summer or in the winter, that we would send traditionally as Cyprus market. People started to buy from Spain, from Italy, from Morocco, and from different areas that they were able to, shift a ship with a truck, get it to the UK or to the other bigger markets in just a few days or a few hours. So it was a really difficult thing to do. And that's when, a lot of different companies started to close down. Credit to the first generation of the company. They pivoted really, really good, we started to expand our business activities. We started to produce our own production. At the beginning, was only buying from different farmers, which I'll get to that later. We started producing our own, and we started processing. And that's when the shift started, when we went to our headquarters that we are today, that you are invited to come as well. The invitation is there.
Yeah, definitely. I'll come one day and see it. Which you're in Nicosia, aren't they?
It's across. It's on the outskirts of Nicosia. It's on the highway between Limassol and Nicosia. I would say on the left side, on the Perachorio exit.
Yeah.
We have also a big
sign. I've seen
big
it.
sign. So we're trying to get ourselves known better, because a lot of people see the sign, but sometimes they don't know where it is. But the other things happen as well. A lot of people are looking for Alion, and they even come there to buy products directly from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is something
like a day out.
Yeah. Because people see the location, they buy their products at home, so they naturally think that they can come buy from there as well. Anyway, let me just to wrap up with the story. We went to our state-of-the-art headquarters that we are in there until today. Okay, we developed it through the years. I mean, it's not what it used to be when it comes to equipment, machinery, and general square meters of warehousing and storage and all that. But through that, we invested more into the processing. What we send as a raw material, we started processing it in Cyprus, getting that in less weight, in more value, and we continue to ship all over Europe. This made us competitive. And this was not done by the rest of the competition. So that the industry started to die out in the early 2000s. Cyprus Airways, Eurocipria started to close down. That decade was full of different challenges. And to be honest, I was there. I was since a young age involved. Credit to my father as well, that he got me early in the business, and I got experiences that whatever you do in your academics, you cannot get them if you are in an early age and you pass through different stages of a company and you meet different kinds of people. You can always use that in future situations. So that's something I'm always doing. But to wrap it up, we got into the whole processing and packaging, and we saw an opportunity in the Cyprus market in those years. There was a big gap on the fresh salad, the ready-to-eat salads, And because we were working with all over the Europe, and our customers were asking, why don't you guys send us ready-to-eat salads as well? You are already doing everything else, all the herbs or the different vegetables, fruits. And that was an idea that the first generation saw, and since we had started producing already, we started with a few crops just to test the market and see how it went. We went to one of the two big supermarket chains. They accepted the idea, credit to them as well, and we started that back in 2007. And that was the fresh salad and herb. That was our first introduction in the Cyprus market. And that was, I would say, a step towards a different era of the company.
I remember that because also then people associated you for a long time just with the ready salad.
Yes. Yeah. And that's when people actually started to meet Alion more into the Cyprus market, because we are well known, and we still are well known all over Europe, sending our products in all the big markets. We're working with Paris, Berlin, all over Scandinavia.
And is that still a big part of your business, the ready-to-eat salad?
We are trying to keep it to be an important part of us. It is an important part of the business. As a group, especially in the last decade, we grew in different sectors as well.
I'll get into the sustainability aspect, which we'll talk about as well, because I know as a company you're very keen on being as sustainable as possible. But I know that in Europe or the UK, when they've done studies on food waste, one of the biggest contributors of food waste in supermarkets are the ready-to-eat or pre-packaged salads, because their shelf life is obviously not as long, and they're not always bought all the time.
That is a very very good note that you are putting on. What I would say, because the returns is always hurt us, because it's something that we are discussing, and it's a big challenge for the sales team as well. As you met Nikos before, we are actually discussing this on our way here, is that how do we minimize more the waste on the salads? And it's a recent matter. Why? Because now the weather is changing as well. Sometimes the cycle of refrigeration of the product that starts from the field, it comes to our warehouse. There is a quality control. It's washed, it's packed, it's dried, it's packed, and it goes into the fridge, goes into a truck, and goes to the supermarket. If it stays on the shelf, if the fridge is not working, if it doesn't have the temperature that it's supposed to be having, then you take it, you put it in your cart, you take it at home. Maybe it stays out for another hour and a half. It's different things that matter on the quality. What we are trying to do and the measures that we are taking as a company is that, first of all, we're trying to minimize and be as exact as possible on what we are sending out there. So we're not always trying to, maximize revenue, and we see what happens with the returns. Another corporate strategy that we developed the last couple of years with some big supermarket chains, and we're trying to incorporate this in all of our partnerships, is that, guys, we can send as much as you want. It's not a problem. We can cover the quantity, but you are in charge of the ordering and you are in charge of the returns. So what we're trying to do is this: like, we are more careful on what we send.
When you say returns, what do you mean? They send it back to you?
Something is expired, or something is not in the ideal quality to be sold on a shelf.
They have to deal with that. Yeah, 100%. I know, because different. There's so much in
it makes more sense.
Sustainability that comes to that, and what supermarkets are doing for that. I just actually had a great idea now. You should do a campaign on your socials about what to do with, for example, me, when I have a romaine lettuce, if it's not that perfect freshness to put in a salad and taste good, you can stir fry it and it's delicious. It's delicious.
So many things you can do.
Soya, and there's so many things. Or you can even juice them,
Absolutely.
So I just think there needs to be more awareness, more education.
And adding to your point, Farah, another thing that we're always trying to do, because there is always waste.
There's always going to be waste.
And since we start from the seed and we end up to fork, that's the farm to fork that we always say, is there is always waste. Even when you harvest something, even from the field, there is waste in the field. There is waste in the processing. There is waste all over the cycle of.
The point is to minimize it.
And how do we minimize? We're trying to give back to the community as well. There is waste of something. We have small farmers that have different kinds of livestock that come to Alion, or we take into specific locations some of the waste, and we're trying to resource it back to the land, either for livestock or for different other reasons and uses that you can use whatever comes out from the land, even if it's leafy vegetables or fruits or anything like that. So it is something that concerns us, and we're always trying to find different ways to improve that. Also with our packaging, when it comes to eco-friendly.
Yeah, because most of your packaging is super eco.
And we're trying to invest in that.
But there is obviously some plastic packaging that comes.
That's a big challenge, And I actually had the discussion, and we are always trying to find better packaging. I had a very good meeting the other day with a very, very, I would say, a very interesting company, and with a young minds behind it, that they are trying to do something very, 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 how would I say it, entrepreneuristic, to find a package that can last fruits, cherry tomatoes, all the different soft products that you cannot have
you can't put them in a bag.
In a big box. You cannot put in a bag because it's going to affect the quality no matter what happens.
It's just going to get squashed. It's that simple.
It's actually very exciting. Very exciting. They are very futuristic, Their approach is so much different, and we are actually the first ones to get in Cyprus.
What about actual cardboard boxes? Grapes could be, as long as they're not wet, they could be in a little cardboard box. They don't have to be in a plastic box.
We are working on that as well. We still have the plastic one of the 500 grams. That is the last actual plastic packaging that we have. It's still biodegradable and all that, but it's still plastic,
And when you say biodegradable, what do you mean? Like how many years? Because obviously,
the specifications on the specific one, I don't want to say years because I would make a mistake now. But our technical team that is in charge of the whole resupplying of the material, because we're talking about a huge supply chain of only the packing materials. I'm not talking about the products. Like each product has its own label, its own grams, its own thing. What they are always trying to do is to ensure that whatever we are using doesn't end up as a basic waste for the environment. But on the same time, Farah, we always need to be aware of the quality. The quality for us is always number one priority. And if we see something that is going to affect the quality, then we are always trying to put that first.
Well, I can vouch for you. The quality is great. And I love the variety of products that you have, that a lot of local things, obviously a lot of seasonal, but then you also have the exotic if you want. You've got the different things out there. I love that you've expanded now. I mean, obviously for me, the fact that you sell meat and, dairy doesn't really affect me, but you've got a nice vegan section, you've got an oriental section. It's great. Like I can get all my plant milks from you, and I don't really need to do very much. You've got amazing truffle oil. You have agave syrup now. So for me, all of these little things that you didn't have, that I was like, I had to go to like a house store afterwards, or I would have to top up at a different shop. Now, I think there's pretty much, you've covered it all. Like I'm good.
And it was a strategy that, when we started Alion and More, I went all the way to the salads and herbs. We're still doing that, and we're doing really good. We're still trying to expand. We're almost in all different supermarkets, and we're trying to supply Horega all over Cyprus every day.
And it's easy. Your site is easy. Like it's very user-friendly. It's quick. I can't stand it when you go onto a site and you need to scroll and take ages, and there's glitches. It's just easy. It's like 5 minutes and you're done.
Yeah. And going back to the products that, how did we expand the product base, and what was the strategy behind it? It was that, as I said before, we started in 2020. It was an idea that, I used to do all my shopping in the United States online. I was busy with, as I said, with sports, basketball. I used to work as well, different kind of jobs through my years in New York. So I always used to shop 9 out of 10 times online. Different kind of suppliers, and a lot of them, a lot of the experiences that I had helped me develop my idea for Cyprus as well. And I remember back in 2019, the only thing I used to go and buy was some traditional Greek products that I could find in a specific area in Astoria, in New York. So everything else was coming to my door, and that's how the idea started. Because I was always, what we always wanted to do was to give more to the consumer, and there is always a limitation coming with that, because, and no blame to the supermarkets, their space is limited. You cannot add 50, 60 different products on a shelf and expect the customer to get it in the quality that you get it at home. Because it's so many different products, and you cannot support that. And the quantities are not there. So there is something going to be wrong. And what I was aspiring to do, and me and of course the rest of the team, was that, we wanted to create a sales channel at the beginning. We didn't even know that it was going to be an application. We didn't even know that came on the way there. But what we started to do, what we wanted to do, was to find a way to give out to the consumers our products that we are producing fresh daily and upon demand. And also going back to the farmers that we discussed before, and sourcing different products from all over Cyprus. We had hundreds of different producers that we are already working with, either for the export market, either for Cyprus market, or for any other reason, like traditional products that were out there. And, I saw an opportunity on that. I was like, people cannot get everything from the farmer direct to their house. There is a gap. There is always something in the middle. So that was the opportunity we saw. And it started very, very, very raw.
Organically.
If that is the word that I can use, it was like 150 products at the beginning. It was our salads, our herbs, some basic fruits and veg, and I remember we started with a bakery, a few products, and a few products with some water, some other dips, and that's how it began, But the first 2 years, Farah, were very, very challenging, because it was the COVID time as well.
Yeah, but that's when people wanted it and they needed it.
Exactly, and we were one of the first entrants. I always use the example that if COVID happened again and we had the product base that we have today, things would be so much more different. But we were not ready,
Well, I don't know. Or you would have, I don't know. Maybe it was a better soft.
The market in Cyprus was not ready,
It wasn't. Okay, so I have 3 kids, okay? So my second one was born in 2015. And at the end of October 2015. And Yasmina, the first, was only 2.5. I had a newborn baby. I'd just become MD of this hotel. And so taken over from my dad. So maternity leave was like 0. And, I was like trying to do
with succession as well, yeah.
And then I had, Yasmina hadn't started kindergarten because I didn't want her to go until she was 3. And my maid left me. So I had, I was like literally, I think it was the closest in my life I've been to like a breakdown. Even though it was the happiest time, it was like an extremely stressful, my parents don't live here. So I was very much alone without that support. And my husband at the time didn't have his own firm, so he was very much stuck to hours in an office. And it was just really very, very stressful. And one of the things I was like, okay, how can I make my life easier? Like, how can I eliminate certain things from my life that will help me? And it was, okay, obviously, let's just miss the supermarket run. I don't need to go to the supermarket twice a week. Like, let's get that, done easier. And there was no one to do onlines. Ordering. And basically, I found in the end, there were 3 companies. I'm not going to say them all. I can't remember their names. Eventually, there were 2 and then they became 3. They were based, one was in Nicosia, 2 were in Larnaca. We didn't have anyone in Limassol. It was like a favor almost that they ended up coming. And I think then move ahead 5 years later to when it was COVID, it was basically suppliers of the hotel that knew me and were like, of course, Ms. Farah will help you out, and we're delivering to the house. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm having to pull favors. And I'm lucky I'm in the position that we order so much that they also say, okay, we'll bring you a few boxes of what you need. And then, so that's when you came along. Okay. And then obviously Foodie, Bolt also started popping up. That made life so much easier. And it was because of COVID, because of the lockdowns. And this is one of the good things that I think came out of it. And also, to be honest, as a woman, I can also go on even more, that when the hybrid system of work came in and we had Zoom and we could have meetings online and nothing replaces the physical contacts and actual meetings. But some of them you can do like in half an hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes online. Yeah. And as a mom who's working, that's a massive game changer because I can take my kids to their football and then have a meeting sitting in the car. And so it does help create a huge balance.
COVID had a lot of negative effects on the whole society, but there were some good things coming out of
it. Definitely.
And, silver lining. Discussing about it's different. We went more digitalized, I would say, especially in Cyprus.
Yeah,
I think
we were
outdated.
behind.
We are so behind, and I think COVID kind of, I would
catapulted us.
Not even pushed us, catapulted us.
They catapulted us into the modern world. But it was, it was a good thing. And I think you guys did really jump on that bandwagon quickly. You got in there fast. Yes, of course, you said, okay, it took you a couple of years. Of course, it would take anyone that time. But that was the right way to do it because you didn't come in with massive mistakes and then people said, oh, I'm not. They've got a bad name.
You always have your mistakes, Farah. I mean, when you talk about it was a startup. It was through another company, but it was something completely different than what we were doing. I mean, we had the delivery, we had the products, but delivery at home proved to be a very, very big challenge. It's not an easy job to do.
It's not easy. And you deliver all over Cyprus.
All over Cyprus, 7 days a week, even to the furthest places of Cyprus.
And so quickly. That's what shocks me. Honestly, I'm your biggest promoter. I'm always like, choose Alion. You've got to use Alion.
And I want to get to the delivery time as well because it's something that we need to get out there and the people need to understand a little bit better. And the marketing team is working on getting out there what we are actually doing, what is behind Alion and more, and what procedures and what it takes to get to be delivering a box full of goodies in 2 or 3 or 4 hours all over Cyprus. It's a very difficult challenge to do.
That's fresh. You're not delivering
and everything is prepared fresh, Farah.
Yeah, exactly. I know because your team have been amazing, including yourself. I order. So I love juicing and I do juice.
The celery juices and all that,
I do juice detoxes like throughout the year. And I normally make them at home. And then I'm like, wow, Alion has fresh juices. Again, do I need to spend half an hour making my own fresh juice, or should I just order when I? And it saves me time. And I love it.
That's actually a great category for us. People, love the whole category, and they always ask for more juices and different kind of mixes. Some things are seasonal, but what we're trying to do is.
But it's fresh, and you guys have called me and literally like, okay, we've got your order ready, but because you've now ordered 6 or 8, however many I order, like juices, we're making them fresh, so we're going to be an hour late.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, wow, great, be an hour late, and
And that is something. Is one of the things that the whole team focuses on. What we're trying to do is we're not trying to mass produce. Yeah. We are doing so in different products, but for example, for the juices, we're not trying to mass produce. We produce according to demand, maybe 3, 4, 5 times a day. The machinery doesn't stop. The juices are always rolling. But it's different kinds of things and according to demand.
Yeah.
It's a very in quotes complicated system that we are working with over there. But it's
what's your bestseller?
The bestseller on the juice category?
No. Just
in general. I will have to go with the strawberries. Strawberries is a very, very big. It's a fan favorite because we produce our own, and we also source from 4 or 5 different strawberry producers from all over Cyprus. Now it's a shift in the season. The lowlands stop producing, mountain areas are starting, so it's a different kind of strawberry. It's a different variety.
That's your biggest.
There is a lot of specialization behind the strawberry that people might actually realize. And it's a very, very big product. There's no basket, or there's no Horeca customer. There's no anyone that is not buying strawberries. It's a very, very large product.
Did my order of 19 bump you up?
That helped, I think, a lot.
I'll say the story.
That helped a lot. But all the kinds of fruits. Yeah.
Guys, the other day I made an order from Alion. And anyway, the order came, and it was like, the usual, a lot of boxes. And my husband shouted up because he opened the door. He's like, wow, it's a lot of boxes. And I'm like, well, you're not always home when we get the delivery. That's what we order. And then, a lovely lady who helps us out at home shouted, Madam, did you order a box of strawberries? And I'm like, of course I ordered a box of strawberries, meaning, the small
and
box.
She went the whole box.
And she's like, no, madam, like the big, huge cardboard box of strawberries. And I'm like, what? She's like, there's 19 boxes of strawberries. And I'm like, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how I kept my thumb on, or if there was a glitch in this. I don't know what happened. But I was like, you know what? If there was one thing we had to order too many of, strawberries is great. Because normally with the kids, I'm like, don't eat that now. Save it for your lunchbox. They love it. So they loved that week, because I was like, anybody for strawberry, we had strawberries breakfast. They had it at their school. We made a really delicious chocolate dipped strawberries. I mean, they just went wild. We made smoothies. It was so much fun. And it was the day before Mother's Day, so it was
came
perfect.
in handy, huh?
Yeah, it was good.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and it's different kinds of products. People are starting to. Obviously, fresh fruit and veg is always our number one seller, but people are finding value in each household, each consumer finds value in different things that we offer. We get customers buying only water, or only a specific ethnic food, or only a specific exotic fruit, or maybe
and
a
you
whole
also have
basket.
bulk. You've got a whole section, I guess, for the Horeca, for restaurants and hotels, because there's the bulk. I'm a family, but I sometimes order from your bulk.
Yeah, that actually happens a lot. Yeah.
I mean, the 20 kilo rice, and it's such a bargain. When you divide it, or your olive oil that you produce yourself is amazing, 4 liters. So, Okay, right. That's the business side. Tell us about you. You're very tall for a Cypriot. You've already told me offline that you were a basketball. Tell us about that. Tell us about your life before fruit and veg.
The life before fruit and veg. As I said, I was always, since a young age, in the company as well. It was I was always there. But what I used to focus more.
But you studied in the States.
Yes, on my teenage years. I always enjoyed basketball. It was from an early age, because of my height as well. I had
it's a slight advantage.
Yes, I had a physical education coach, teacher at the time. He was my coach as well afterwards. That he told I used to play football in like the rest of the boys that they do in Cyprus, and he saw me running in the field. I was like, "What are you doing there? Get on the basketball."
Yeah,
and that's how it started. I went to A big academy in Nicosia. It was Keravnos at the time. Spent a few years there, and then had the opportunity to transfer to Aboel, which is also a famous team in Cyprus. And through that, I went up the ranks. I was fully focused. Sports helped me a lot in a very young age. I developed different kinds of mentalities that helped me through the years, my whole journey. And some bad experiences as well, but that's how you get better. That's how you learn. I had the opportunity at a young age to move up to the first team. But when I was 16 years old, I got the opportunity. Spent 3 years with the men's team as well. I was always also playing in the academy. I had the opportunity to get involved with the Cyprus national team as well. And all that brought me close to a more almost semi-professional level of basketball. That through the years, maybe when I was 17, I always loved the idea of the United States. Basketball was born, and it came all the way from.
Well, it's like the dream,
from
isn't
there.
it?
Yeah. So as a young teenager, watching different kind of clips.
So is that how you ended up going to America?
Yeah,
because of basketball?
I tried to, find some opportunities. I had a really good counselor that actually helped me, a good team at my school that helped me a lot. And, I put things in the right place. I always try to be good in the academics as well, because that's something important that you need to have in order to go to the US. And everything worked out. I went for a year in West Virginia. I had a great experience there. It was my first year. And then I transferred to New York, in Manhattan at Baruch College, which was a great experience as well. Spent the next 5 years there. I played basketball. I enjoyed my time for a couple of years. Then I kind of pivoted more into the business world. You're in the big city. I had different kinds of opportunities. Basketball was taking too much time for me. It was not easy to stop. I mean, stop from that level and try to, do it as a hobby from now on. But it was a lesson as well. I had to focus on different kinds of things, and the experience that I got and the different kinds of people that I met through other opportunities that I got to do in New York, either working or socializing or different kinds of things that you couldn't do if you spend 6 or 7 hours a day training from morning to night, and you have to deal with school as well and all that. The mathematics didn't add up. So I had to get a little bit more involved.
What did you learn most from basketball? Like, what did it teach you? Life lessons.
A quote that I like to use, and I remember my Coach Osborne, was our motto back in 2016 for our whole team. For every year, we used to have a motto that was on our shirts and all that. The motto for that year was "Rise through adversity." And it's not a lot of words, but it has a deep meaning for me. And it can apply in different kinds of things. And adversity will always be there. There's always going to be issues, problems, but the only way to move forward is to rise through them and learn, learn and continue to develop yourself. That's what I was mostly focused on. And yes, to wrap it up, I did my academics. I finished my bachelor's at Baruch, did my master's of science, and there was a gap because of Alion and more. COVID came, had to come back. I had a semester left for my master. Then I came to Cyprus for 2 years. We set the business up a little bit. That's why I divided it before as well.
But did you finish your master's?
And then I went back for 3 months. I was going back and forth every month.
Yeah.
And I managed to finish my master's as well.
Done.
And it was a great opportunity because I got, my master's was mostly on entrepreneurship, startup, succession planning, and all that, family business management. And it came in handy a lot because everything happened in 2020. We started the business in Cyprus. It was early, we started through Foodie, et cetera, et cetera. Then we started developing our own app, and, different kinds of challenges came after 2022. COVID was pretty much done. The market completely changed in the e-commerce grocery delivery. Everybody went in. It was a more mature market now, a more competitive one. You didn't have the advantage of the first entrant anymore. And, all the different kinds of supermarkets went in, as you said before, very well. World markets, foodie markets made their own little revolution. They went express and more fast to the customer. These raised the standards, and they are and created two different I would say gears, There was a gear of the express delivery that you could get in a few hours and all that. And there was the old gear of between 2020 and 2022, and even before that, you said there was 3 people doing that before the next day delivery. So it was a big challenge. And it was one of the first difficult pivots that I had to do in my business career as well back in 2022. I remember that, sales were there, but I was looking at the industry and I was saying that this thing is going towards a more express approach. And as Alion and more, yes, we have our advantages, but we are delivering from a central location all around Cyprus, which brings also some disadvantages, obviously, And I tried to work on our strong
the logistics must be quite hard.
Exactly.
If you get a delivery and you say you're going to do that in 2 hours, but you've got another one 5 hours later in the same space, but ideally you'd want to combine it, and
that's when the team comes in. You need to have a good and strong team. You need to put technology to work for you. That was a big challenge for us as well. We are constantly working on
tech-wise. Do you have that support? Are there softwares out
through the years? Yes, we developed some really, really strong teams, and there's always a lot of work to be done, but we are in every. I like to take it quarter by quarter, and each quarter is better.
How do you keep the team motivated? How do you keep them all together with this higher purpose?
That's a great question, Farah. What I always, and I say, as I said, I'm relatively young in the business world. A lot of my colleagues
are in the real world.
Yes, that's how I want to feel. But in the business world as well, sometimes being younger, it's kind of not a challenge, but you need to prove yourself. And the best way to lead a team and to inspire a team, I would say, is to lead by example.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm actually trying to do every day. It's not easy as you're growing. We started with a team of 3-4 friends that came together in COVID, and we started this job on the 21st of March in 2020. And now you're talking about a team of 80 people. The challenges are there. We are all learning through that process, but that's the thing that matters for me. Lead through example and trust people. Give opportunities. There's always going to be mistakes. There's always going to be failures. But if you create the appropriate environment for innovation, for people to actually take out their best self, I think it's in the best interest of an organization or a company in general.
Yeah, 100%. What about your marketing strategy? Tell us about your marketing. How do you?
Marketing strategy, we have a good challenge, and the good challenge is going back to the delivery time as well. We are delivering from a centralized location. It's a different business model. We had many international companies trying to understand how do we make this happen. I had a really nice conversation with one of the big platforms that are in Cyprus, one of their high executives that visited Cyprus, and he wanted to understand how does Alion does this? How do they deliver in 5 different districts from the same location, and why are they late? Because people got used to the motorbike delivery. I come in half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, and I bring your groceries or your food and all that. Our business model is completely different. And that was a challenge, as I said before, with the pivot that we as a team had to decide, do we want to go with smaller locations in the big cities and we do our delivery with motorbikes, or do we want to stay and, in our headquarters, improve our logistics, stay true and loyal to our business model that got us here, the box, the grocery? Do we still get it in a refrigerated truck? It's protected 12 months a year from rain, from sun, from all the different kinds of things that a box needs to be protected. Your groceries, your food needs to be protected. And we still focus on that, And as I said before, we want to achieve more sales. We want to get more customers. We want to get more orders. For sure, anybody wants to do that, but it has to be sustainably. And sometimes, Farah, you don't want to compromise specific things that got you there, a specific way of working in order to achieve more sales. And I'm going to connect that to the marketing in a moment. That, I can do more marketing, and I can maybe push a little bit more and get more revenue. But I don't want customers like you or anybody else that trusts me for their groceries and for what they give to their families to downgrade my delivery downgrade my quality so I can be there on time. You know, and it's a challenge. And my major challenge right now, operationally wise, is how do we get better on our delivery time? How are we faster? I don't know if that's possible because we pushed it pretty much to the max.
Good.
But
it gets
more to the,
Look, if someone wants faster, they're going to order from, Foodie Express. And just get, the coffee that they needed or the tea or the whatever bananas they'd run out of. If they really are doing their supermarket shop, then, you know that if you got in your car and you went to a supermarket, you'd need an hour, 2 hours to get that done. Okay. They're planning it ahead. And
we need to do a better job. And this is one of the major things that we discussed with our marketing meeting last week as well. This is one of the major things we need to get out there. That, guys, the reason it takes so long, which is not long, but some people view it as long, and I understand it. If you're used to get something in half an hour of
but
45
people are
minutes,
impatient now.
Exactly.
I don't think
Farah, it's different kinds of customers, and it's different kind of needs, and
demanding.
it's different approaches to the demographic. There is a demographic that wants it tomorrow, and it's a big order, and there's somebody that wants it now. We want to cover different kinds of needs on the one side, but on the other side as well, we need to protect the core business, and we need to protect how we work. And sometimes we need, and to finalize with it, we need to do a better job of getting it out there, why it takes so long, and better inform our customers sometimes that it's late. Because most of the times we're on time, but a customer always remembers
the one time
that you are not on time. And you are as good as your last delivery.
That's not me.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, it's okay. Someone's home, they'll get it. I ask everybody this, your favorite quote. I know you've already said one. Is that your favorite, or you have another?
I have a few, to be honest.
Okay, shoot, tell us.
Another short one that I like a lot is the basic one that is, if there's no pain, there is no gain, and if there's no failures, there's no lessons. All that, I have different words from Albert Einstein.
But it's true, no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain. I like that one. I don't like long quotes, to be honest with you. I like to be on point.
On the point. Okay, bonus question. I could talk to you for ages. I've got so many questions here about, I love it. I love your industry. But let's wrap up with the final question.
Okay.
So this is from our team at St. Raphael Resort and Marina. Everybody gets the chance to write a question, put it in this crystal bowl. So what did you get?
That's a great question. If you could switch lives with any historical character for a day, who would it be?
Wow. Oh,
from
goodness, that's quite loaded.
That's loaded. Yeah, that's a great question. I like ancient Greek history, not back in the day, but lately I like to
read
it. So maybe that's a great question. I would say Socrates. I would want.
You better come out with some corkers that day, otherwise they'd be like,
to be honest with you, because
what happened to Socrates?
No. My business is so intense. Our industry is so intense. It's 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But because my mother as well is an academic, she's a teacher. She's also a writer, and she had a very interesting life as well. And I'm 50% from her genes as well. So I have the gene of actually creativity, more. I don't know if philosophical is the word, but a more arty side as well, which I don't get the opportunity to explore as much. But it's
Socrates was definitely surrounded by a lot of wise people. He would just surround himself and have these philosophical conversations all day and just sitting there. And he was also vegan.
He was.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So all of the great philosophers.
He was a couple of thousand years
ahead of his time. Yeah. They said, I think it was Aristotle, but he said you can't expect to eat death and then feel alive. And also said, I don't want my body to be a graveyard. Yeah. So they came out with
that applies to our business as
well. Exactly. So there you go. These could be your taglines. George, thank you so much. Really, I could have spoken to you for so long about so many things. But I think we'll wrap it up there.
It was
and
a
we'll
pleasure.
let people get in touch with you directly or comment below and with more questions. So, and do everyone check out Alion. It's amazing. I love it. I'm not saying that because George is here. It's changed my life and it will change yours. So thank you for doing what you do.
It's a pleasure to see you, Farah.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because it helps us more than you may realize. If you are planning on coming to visit us at St. Raphael Resort and Marina, feel free to email our reservations team quoting Hotel Talk and receive an exclusive offer just for you. We look forward to seeing you soon, hearing your feedback about our show and producing many, many more interesting episodes just for you, our listener and our valued guest in mind. Thank you so much and take care.